Hello, you. Welcome once again to the Poor and Old Man podcast. My name is Russell. This is episode 3 of the Poor and Old Man podcast. As always, I am joined by his milkshake IPAs bring the boys to the yard, Mr. Anthony Pitt. Welcome.
Thanks, mate. How are you this week?
Oh, can't complain. Really can't complain. I'm travelling along. How about yourself?
I am very excited this week for two reasons.
Really? What's got you excited this week?
Well, the first one is the amount of people that have listened to the podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Particularly all around the world, so thank you, everyone. Also, the fact that they've been reaching out and passing on some comments and feedback, so that's been good.
Fantastic.
But the second reason is we actually finally found somebody.
That's right, Anthony. We have a third wheel joining us in the studio today. You've heard him at the end of the podcast going round. He's a roving reporter around town. Pitty, do you want to tell us, where's Wazza this week?
Wow, where is he?
I'm right here, guys.
Excellent. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Poor and Old Man Studios there, Wazza. It's a very professional environment, as you can tell. I have noticed that Wazza has been walking around and grading the ambience of your kitchen as well, Pitty. So you might want to listen to the end of the podcast, see what score he gives you.
Fantastic.
So, Wazza, now we've got you in studio, I'll quiz you on a couple of things. Firstly, what sort of beers do you like? What's your favourite brews?
Look, I'm fairly varied. It just depends on the day of the week. I generally switch between dark beers, so stouts and porters, through to IPAs and sours. For the most part, that's what I do.
Fantastic. And what about breweries? Do you have any favourite preferred breweries that you always gravitate towards?
I definitely do, yeah. I'd have to say Black Hops down on the Gold Coast. Actually, a big fan of Brewdog in Murray. They're doing some good stuff. And one from near to my hometown, a Bridge Road Brewery down in Beechworth.
Yeah, actually, I don't mind Bridge Road Brewery. The Beechworth Pale is brilliant, actually.
They do a good solid core range.
They do. They kind of get overlooked a bit sometimes, Bridge Road, I feel. But they do there's a magical Christmas unicorn, then Santa's big red rag sack or something like that.
Again, you and your Christmas.
Yeah, that's all right. Because I'm a fat man with a beard, so I kind of gravitate towards Santa myself. And the other question I've got to ask you was, I might start asking everyone that comes to the podcast, have you ever had a good milkshake IPA?
One. And sadly, it was a limited edition run that was done for one of the beer and cider festivals. It was by Fox Hat Brewing, and it was a strawberries and cream milkshake.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was good, but that's the only one.
So we're at one.
We're at one. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thirsty. We'll crack into show and tell, and first up today will be Wazza. So, of course, show and tell is when each of us bring a beer to the table and share it with the class to discuss what we think of it. Wazza, what have you brought this week?
This week I bought Helios Brewing Company's Cyclops IPA.
Ooh, I do like Helios.
They do some strong beers, so this should be good.
Yeah, this one's a new one for their core range, just canned this week.
Fresh off the canning line, we like that.
Excellent.
Crack that one open.
And I have heard some good things about the Cyclops IPA. Apparently, the brewer had won some awards for a similar drop he did, so this should be interesting.
Yep.
Pours a really dark sort of...
Yeah, it's got that lovely sort of amber colour to it, doesn't it? Lovely white head on there.
So it looks like a nice, spicy, crisp, I'd say dry IPA there, which should be good.
It's a little bit of haziness there. I wouldn't say it's cloudy, but it's a little bit of sort of haze.
I would say carbonated.
It is very well carbonated.
Yes. So, Warren, being the fact that it's your beer, you can have a crack first while we have a bit of a look at this. So it's an American IPA, candied citrus, stone fruit and spice leaking from the glass. Does sound a bit fancy.
The actual American IPA style kind of gone out of fashion. Like everyone's going towards the NEPA or the West Coast IPA or just different variations. Like the classic American IPA. I mean, I always think back to the original Fat Yak was the American IPA. They kind of just sort of kick things running, but then everyone's kind of moved away from it a bit. So it's good to see he's coming back, and I quite enjoyed them. How are you enjoying that one, Woz?
It's got some bold flavour in it. It does remind me of a New England IPA. Pretty intense flavour profile, but good mouthfeel, I think, and really quite enjoyable.
Can art's pretty cool. That Cyclops is an interesting looking fella. What's that, 6%? So good solid kick to it as well.
That's really got a fantastic aroma, doesn't it?
It's that typical IPA that piney.
Yeah, it's almost, I know it's not oak, but it's kind of got that oaky kind of,
Yes.
the woody sort of earthiness to it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
A lot of like fresh fruit, pineapple, passion fruity flavour.
I think the one-eyed Helios fans might enjoy this one.
Yes. I do like the joke. Definitely has that crispness of an IPA as far as the flavour goes. It's quite defined, isn't it?
Mm.
You know you're drinking an IPA.
That's it. And there's something to be said, like it's very easy, I think, for breweries these days to go overboard with different flavours and do things that are strange and weird and bold to be different, whereas it's nice that breweries still, I suppose, have the courage to go back and just do a basic IPA and just do it well.
The one it reminds me of a lot is the Bent Spoke Cluster 8.
Oh, that's
sort of the benchmark of IPAs as far as the defined.
Anytime that Bent Spoke Cluster 8 comes out, I get on that because that is just a fantastic drop.
Yes.
As I said, about a good double IPA is one that you can drink and it just sneaks up to you and knocks you out of it. Gives you a little crack on the jaw.
I think that's the key, isn't it? I think all of these, fantastical types of different beers are brilliant if you're having a one-off, but really getting something that is a core range beer that you can drink time and time again and have multiple times in a single session, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so rating-wise, what would you give that?
I'm going to rate that one a 7. I like it. It's drinkable. I could drink it for a session, so I'm happy with that.
7's a good score, Russ.
I'll probably agree with that as well. Like, there's nothing wrong with the 7. We're not saying 7 is a bad drink. It's serviceable, and if I had like a 4-pack of that in the fridge, it'll disappear quite quickly. So that's I'll probably agree with that.
I am gonna be a bit harsh and go 6.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, so just below you guys. I think it's good, definitely drinkable. I'm trying to give a little bit of leeway, particularly too, because I think I prefer the late night snack over this. I think I gave that a 7. So
Speaking of the late night snack, going back to last week's one,
yes,
I had a couple of cans of that mellowing in the fridge a bit. I went back to it, and it improved with age.
there you go.
I'm not changing my rating on because it still didn't taste like blueberry pancakes, which I blame the social media people for that. But yeah, the sweetness came through a bit more. The tartness of the fruit kind of mellowed out, so it actually improved with age.
Did you do the test where you let it warm up a little bit as well to see if that?
Yeah, I let it warm up a bit, and it definitely came through a lot sort of smoother the more it warmed up. It didn't warm up too much because I was thirsty.
Well, yeah.
And so with that, it's time for the news. All right, first up, there is a new brewery opening up in, of all places, Sherwood.
I know, it was an odd spot for him to do that one.
You might say odd, I say convenient because it's about 5 or 10 minutes from my work, so it's getting closer to me.
Yes, well, I was thinking it's quite close to home as well, so it's nice to see another one, sort of the southwest side.
Yeah, so this is, of course, Lost Palms, who are down the Gold Coast already. They're opening up one up here. I have never been there. Actually, to be honest, I've barely heard of them.
Yeah, no, they don't ring a bell. What about you, Warren?
The name rings a bell, but I can't say that anything has stood out for me.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at too, is the name rings a bell. Not so much.
I had a poke through their core range, and they seem very like sour sort of centric flavours. I think they got a hibiscus and something sour, something with a lime and ginger as well. So they seem to be more of that refreshing kind of style, sort of the sours and the lags and that sort of style.
So perfect for Queensland.
Perfect for Queensland, and it's
time opening up, coming into summer, so I might have to make a trip out there.
Next up on the news, Ballistic just announced, there's not much to say for it, but they just announced they're opening up the Bunker Wild Ale Project, which is opening up near the original venue in Salisbury. They will be making a full announcement soon, but their focus there will be on mixed fermentations, barrel-aged beers, and all things wild.
Sounds good. I do love Ballistic. They do a lot of good stuff. Speaking of which, they've got their single hop IPAs coming out.
Yes.
Or have come out.
They came out this morning at the time we're recording. That was the Brew 1 hop. They've got a hazy and a West Coast there. I'll be picking that up on my way home from here, probably. Next up on the news, birthday shout-out.
Yes.
Whose birthdays are this week, Pity?
Source Brewing have had their third birthday or are having their third birthday, so that's an exciting one. It's good to see.
Have you had much of Source Brewing?
I have had their mango squeak,
Yeah,
which was quite nice.
Oh, mango squeak! They got quite a few of the mango ones. I think the mango, the bubble and squeak, which is the double, whatever the double one is. I think I've had that, and I had one of the hop sauce IPA. That was
actually yes, I've had the hop sauce. Warren, yourself?
Look, I can't say I have tried them in memory.
Yep.
But they do ring a bell from one of the beer festivals that I've been to. I might have just been too inebriated by that point to remember them, which is not a reflection on them, more of my abilities.
I still yet to try the Source to have a collab beer out with Deeds Brewing. That one did look interesting. So I will keep an eye out for that. Hopefully there's still some around.
Next up on the news, this is something that has always held my interest. I've been following this. There's been a story going on for the last 10 years or so. So Brewdog, in association with Schwarzbrau, excuse my German, just released what they call the world's strongest beer. Now, what would you? Oh, this is way past my alley. I think this goes past most people's alley. What would you consider a strong beer to be?
Around the 10 to 12 is generally a pretty strong.
No, you sort of gets you going. Yeah.
12, if you got up above around that 20%, I think that'd be putting hair on the chest.
That's right. Well, this would put a lot of hair on your chest. This will give your waxer sort of RSI from waxing all the hair off your chest, this one. Because this is a 57.8% beer.
And are they doing that in standard can?
Oh, Jesus, no. It comes in a 40ml bottle. It's an Ice Bock style beer. So an Ice Bock, which I learned with research. I did research, would you believe?
Wow, someone had to do something.
So Ice Bock, they make a Bock beer, and basically they freeze it, take all the water out, and run it through again, freeze it, and they keep freezing until the alcohol condenses. So it just basically turns into a spirit, more or less.
So basically just alcohol.
Pretty much, yeah. So 57.8. Now, I've been following this for a few years now, just because 3 words caught my attention about 10, 12 years ago, and that was tactical nuclear penguin. Which
that's definitely got attention.
Yeah, when I saw that, I had no idea what that was, and what that actually was Brewdog's first attempt at taking the world's strongest beer record. That one was brewed back in 2009. It was a 32% stout.
Okay, so they've almost doubled it.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Now, they did that, and not to be outdone, Schwarzbrau, who originally had the record, they came back with a 40% Ice Bock not long after that. I feel sorry for there's an Italian brewery in between there that were making a beer called Freeze the Penguin, because they wanted to outdo Brewdog, but by the time they got theirs out, Schwarzbrau had already beat them to the punch, so unlucky.
I do like the shade that they tried to throw with Freeze the Penguin.
Yeah. And they got frozen by the Germans instead. So the Germans took the record, and then Brewdog came back with a beer called Sick the Bismarck, a little nudge at the old...
there is some shade going back.
And that was a quadruple IPA at 41%. And of course, not to be outdone, Schwarzbrau came back with another Ice Bock at 43%. The next one is one that always makes me laugh. Now, this one was Brewdog came back with one called The End of History. You guys ever heard of this one?
No.
This is a Belgian blonde style beer, came in at 55%. But what made this special? They only made 12 bottles of it. But each bottle was served inside a taxidermied squirrel.
Okay.
Because why?
I don't know, because they were young, they were punks, they were Brewdog. They're trying exactly. And so they made 12 of them. And if you see photos of these, it's a dead squirrel with a bottle coming out of its mouth.
I'm glad it's coming out of its mouth.
It's quite something. Only 12 bottles we ever made, and they cost about $1,000 each. And then, of course, as you know, the pattern is, Schwarzbrau came back a little bit later with a 57% Ice Bock. After that, there's a couple of other breweries that try to have a crack at this one being Koslip with a beer called Start the Future, which is 60%. They did another as well, but theirs spirit and whiskey based, so they don't count.
Yep.
There's another one called Brewmeister that came up with a 65% beer called Armageddon, which later got tested and proved to be only about 17%.
Oh, that's not cool.
They still claim to have the world's strongest beer, Snake Venom, 67%, but no one believes them because they're a bunch of dirty liars. So if you listen to the podcast, remember, lies make baby Jesus cry.
And don't sue us.
Yes. Which, what, Jesus or Brewmaster?
Both.
Okay.
All of the above.
Didn't know Jesus Christ was so litigious. There you go. So yes, that's Strength in Numbers by Brewdog and Shaw's Barrel. As I said, it comes in a 40ml bottle, and that will set you back a cool $80.
Is it too bad?
Well, I don't know whether that's a good price or not. So I thought it'd be more than that, but yeah. Needless to say, we're not going to be trialing it on this show anytime soon, I don't think.
Unless they want to send us a free one.
I wonder if they have a medical examination required before you have to try these.
A waiver to sign?
Maybe.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at some of the spirits like your Bacardi 151. That's about 75% alcohol. So
absinthe can be quite high.
I enjoy whiskey as well, and some of them are quite high up there. But I think there's a different mentality with drinking a beer versus a whiskey, and a few people might end up hurting themselves.
That is exactly right.
That's very true.
When I was looking back at this, I did have to laugh. I think it was one of the coal ship beers. I think it might have been the Start of the Future. So they were one of them anyway. It was one of the Shaw's Barrel. They brewed it once. And because their quote was, it tasted awful and we didn't like it, so we brewed it once and that was it.
Fair enough.
So they don't brew these things to taste nice, they brew these things to make headlines.
Yep.
And it does.
Fair enough.
Especially if you're sticking a taxidermy squirrel. It's time now for round 2 of Show and Tell. And next up to the blocks is Anthony.
So, I have Reanimator. It's a cryo IPA from Deep Creek.
Sounds like an Arnold Schwarzenegger mid-90s kind of film, to be honest.
Yeah, they have sort of highlighted that it's the theme of this West Coast Challenge was actually horror movies. So that's where they've brought it from.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of reminiscent of the can out there, I can see.
Yeah, it's quite cool looking, which was what sort of drew me to the beer initially. Also, the fact that it was a much larger can, and I'm just giving myself a massive pour and you both.
Giving us a short pour, Pity.
Yeah, I know.
I wish this was a video. You can see he's jipped me and Wazza. He's given us about if this was the Brewdog beer, that'd be fine. He's given us about 40 mils each and giving himself 2.5 litres. So it's...
I'm not driving, so I'm allowed. So this one is pretty cool. I am interested in the cryo aspect of it. I've seen a few of these coming out lately. So
where's this one from? Who's brewed this one?
Deep Creek.
Deep Creek.
Yes. So again, another Kiwi beer, but I've been a big fan of the other stuff that they're doing. Their hazies and sours.
Mm-hmm.
So let's.
I won't hold that against them being a Kiwi brewery. They're doing some good stuff.
Normally works in their favour.
Well, again, we sort of, if they're decent, we just claim them as Australians. So
that's it. Yeah.
This smells really fruity.
I haven't even picked up the glass. I can smell it wafting over towards me. It smells great.
I am interested in this cryo IPA. It sounds interesting. I'm not sure what makes it a cryo.
I haven't had a cryo before, so this is going to be interesting. But it's the new buzzword, I think, at the moment. Everyone's jumping on the whole cryo thing. So
I've had one before and enjoyed it. And this is the second one.
And given the fact that I'm not a craft beer expert, I don't know what all these things are. So I'm guessing cryo, they freeze it. I'm guessing, or just taking a wild guess. And I'll educate myself on that one day.
Maybe just some liquid nitrogen in there for good luck.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't taste like it smells.
No,
that's
it's got big notes on it. From a smell perspective, but it actually drops away pretty quickly in flavour.
Also good to know on the can. This is vegan friendly, so that's
good. Good. We're always concerned about that.
I'm sure there's some craft beer hipsters out there that the vegan friendly will work for them, but
well, look, I can't say I've spent a long time studying this. I'm not a vegan myself. However, I kind of think most beers would be vegan friendly, would they not?
No, they actually use parts of the fish gut to filtrate the beer to make it get rid of the yeast sediment from it.
Really?
It's something I've learned.
There you go. Here's our beer expert.
See, full of surprises I am. But yes, so that's why some beers are not vegan friendly. That applies to a lot of things as well, like wine as well.
Wine.
Yeah, so they use that to filter the small particles out of the beer. So.
I think that might be the most scientific thing we ever have on this podcast.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of competition for that,
No,
I don't think.
between the three of us, there's not a lot of that going on.
So this was, I'm just saying, you haven't read the can art yet, have you?
No, I haven't read anything.
This was brewed for the 13th annual Malt House West Coast IPA Challenge. This year's theme was 80s horror movies. We took a load of cryogenically frozen Simcoe hops and reanimated them into this lively hoppy creation. Look out for the cryo reanimator.
So it's a zombie beer.
It is a zombie beer.
It's an interesting taste. I'm still yet to define. It's definitely IPA. Not as strong as the Helios that we had first.
No.
It's got the really comforting kind of that piney, resiny kind of thing coming through. It's light on bitterness. It's not very bitter, I don't think.
No,
Like the Helios was quite bitter at the end, which it's fine. I don't mind that at all. And this is a lot smoother
This
going
doesn't
through.
sort of linger. It's sort of just initial taste and then that's the end of it. Yeah. Whereas the Helios, if you want that traditional, long-lasting bitterness, it's really intriguing. I don't know. Still don't know whether I like it or whether I don't like it.
I like it. There's no question. It's not. I definitely like it. It's, how much do I like it? Yeah, I quite like it a bit. It's very smooth, very easy going. Like it's not a again, it's not one of these like special. Oh my god, sort of beers. But it's just a nice, comfortable IPA.
It's probably a more smashable IPA than
Dangerous.
yes.
6.5%.
Is that 6.5%?
Yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it, would you? That's very smooth, actually.
And the fact that it comes in the larger 440ml can.
Yes.
I do like that from Deep Creek, that everything's big.
Yeah.
Well, everything's big in New Zealand, let me tell you.
I was going to say maybe it's a Kiwi thing.
Let's not go there.
No, that's
Time for the new brews then, huh?
Yes.
All right. So, first one up, new release coming out in October from Black Ops. This is their Black Ops monthly release.
Yes.
It is called Neverland.
Ooh.
It is an 8.2% grapefruit double IPA coming out in a couple of weeks' time. Colour me intrigued.
Yeah, I'm excited by that. Neverland was Michael Jackson, wasn't it?
Yes, I know. I was just,
let's not talk about that.
Let's not get sued again.
I must admit, when I heard they called it Neverland, I said, why? Why would you want to associate yourself there? But hey, who knows?
Assuming it's Peter Pan rather than Michael Jackson.
Good point. Could be Peter Pan.
But,
Fantasy.
It's got some good can art by looks as well, so look out for that one.
Awesome.
You got any on that?
I have got a good list going at the moment. The one that I am most excited about is from Deeds. Their Sawtooth Pineapple Sour. I'm a big fan of Hope Estates Pineapple Sour, so I do hope Deeds crack it on this one as well.
It'd be interesting because I've never been blown away by Deeds beer yet. I'm always skeptical about sours, although I keep trying them. That's got a bit of a battle to win me over that one.
Yeah. Well, actually, pretty much my list is of sours. So, Young Henrys have Dark Sour of the Moon. They do actually have a good little social media clip of that. It's a dark
They
blueberry
tried a
sour.
pun there. It's not a very good pun.
It's not a good pun. The actual
Let's try
social
and force
media is kind of cool for it.
Well, if the social media is cool.
Well, that's it, yeah. It got me intrigued. Nomad have their Supersonic Sonic Boom. Lots of Sonics in there. It's a Yuzu and Passion Fruit Hazy Double IPA.
What's a yuzu?
Yeah. I'm guessing that's adding the sourness. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
It's something Japanese. It's a Japanese kind of fruit, but I don't know what it is.
Maybe the listeners can tell us in the comments.
That's it. Good point. Green Beacon with their apricot and peach sour. So that should be interesting. I haven't seen Green Beacon really go out of their core range before. There's another one that I think me and Russ discussed recently from Pirate Life. They're Dilmar Tea Brown Ale.
Yes.
Yeah. Colour me intrigued, but beyond that, unless someone's going to give us a free one, I don't think I'm going to go there.
I've got to say, I tried the Yeasty Boys Earl Grey IPA the other week.
Yes.
It was bad. They do a lot of good stuff. This was not one of them. So I'm a bit suspicious of a tea-based beer.
Yeah. This goes along. I think I mentioned last week how like Pirate Life are they're just doing some batshit stuff at the moment. Like they've gone off on their own tangent away from everything and just thrown everything as well. Like they've also got a very trendy, they call it a DDDH cryo NEPA. In brackets, it's a beer, which I find.
I have seen that. That did almost appear on this week's episode as well.
Yeah, and I've seen them do that one, and at the same time, the Dilmah Tea and Bickie's Brown Ale, which I don't know if some, I'm kind of curious to try. Are you curious to try it?
I'm curious, so yeah. It's almost a car crash one where you kind of see it and you have to have a look.
You just got to know, like, you know.
That's it. Warren, do you have any ones that you're looking forward to this week?
I do have a couple, yeah. I've got the Fox Hat Bearded Mongrel.
Bearded Mongrel?
Bearded Mongrel, which is a limited edition bourbon barrel-aged stout.
Ooh, that's right up my alley. Yeah. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, it's...
In fact, have you ever had is it Fox Pelt, the Fox Hat's Red IPA?
I'm a big fan.
That is an absolute cracker. Yeah. I was skeptical because it was that first choice, and it was like $16 for a 4-pack, and it was like 8% or something like that. I thought this can't be good, but it's amazing. It really is.
If you get a chance at some stage, try their Full Mongrel. It is a stout. It's 10%, so it's a big banger, but it's got some good flavours in it.
Yep.
I've also got Bridge Road Brewing. Strangely enough, I've got a raspberry sour with lime coming out. I'm getting that one posted directly to me.
Nice.
And last on the list, I know that Happy Valley Brewing out at Stafford are actually in the process of canning their first lot of beers.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm excited to try some of those in the can.
Yep, absolutely. Good to support a new up-and-coming brewery around the place.
That's it. Actually, speaking of support too, I wanted to mention Range Brewing, their Full Circle beer. So it's only for people in Victoria. However, Range aren't actually taking any profits from the beer. So all the money taken from sales is actually going directly to the venue that sells it.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
Nice little effort there for the recovery in Victoria.
Yep, I know they've done a few things like that during lockdown as well, like helping hospitality workers. So, no, big shout out to them for doing that. One that has got a big announcement this week that I noticed is Stone and Wood have added a new beer. Now,
is that their lighter?
Yes.
Yep.
And when Stone and Wood said they're adding a new beer to the core range, I got all excited. And finally, they're releasing Sticky Nectar as part of this core range. But no, it is a light beer. And I thought, what a waste of opportunity. But
it is
I've been looking into it, and it's curious because it's actually they've taken the light beer thing, but there's a slight sourness to they've done like a souring to it. They've added some salt, got some fruits, and they've got a real sort of zesty kind of like flavour to it apparently. So it's not your typical premium light Foster's Light Ice kind of style. It's more a like zingy, refreshing kind of beer. So it's I was ready to write that one off being a light beer, but it might be something different anyway.
Could be a good one to take to a barbecue, and that way you can have a few without.
If anything, it's probably a smart move. Like low and no alcohol beers are quite popular and growing in awareness at the moment. So having something like that, could be a good marketing ploy for them. All right, time for part 3 of Show and Tell. Now, going back to the new beer releases there, was it? If there's any beer that you would not want to try on that list, what would that be?
I think I mentioned my disdain for tea-based beers, so that's probably high up on the list.
Because they ended tea.
Have I got a surprise for you? My beer this week is from Pirate Life and Dilmah Tea. It's the Tea and Bickie's Brown Ale.
I guess we're trying it.
Well,
Pop the kettle on, folks. Time for a cup of tea.
Now that I've shit-canned tea beers, let's give it a go.
Well, at least we, if it's good, it'll be a quick recovery for us.
Oh, it even looks like brewed tea. Do you want milk and sugar with this one?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Would you like a cup of tea? There you go, Mr. Pick. A cup of tea for you.
I guess the old men really fits this tea.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. The poor old men, and we've resorted to drinking cups of tea.
Well, there is a friendly-looking gentleman on the TV that talks about Dilmah and wanting to try it, so let's see if he comes through.
It is brown, dirty water.
Well, The colour is it's just a black tea. You can take an English tea and chuck in hot water. It's the same colour, which is also fair enough. The colour of a brown ale.
I'm not going to lie. It kind of reminds me if I put dish soap in my tea.
Yeah, that's probably a very good I haven't quite cleaned that cup.
I think they might have seeped the tea bag in the pot a bit too long in this one, but
I'm sure it'll taste better. I'm adamant.
No, it doesn't smell like tea, but I'm best on these
now
ones. So.
in tea etiquette here, is it pinkies out while drinking this? So,
Yes, I believe so.
which is hard for you. We've me and Wazza have handles on our glasses here. Pity does not. So I've gone the pinkies out method.
Challenge, I'll still do that.
Are we supposed to be colonising countries while we do this?
Well, Dilmar
Too
is in
risque?
the colonised countries. So we'll skip that one. But 5.6%.
Well, I've gone ahead and given it a bit of a taste, and I don't dislike it yet.
Yet. I'm actually going to say this is much better than the other tea beer that I tried.
That's a start.
Yeah.
Was that PG Tips or something like that? Was it? Or Lipton tea maybe? It's the Dilmar tea that makes all the difference.
It is. I'm sure the wonderful people over at Dilmar had something to do with how good this tastes.
It has an interesting mouthfeel. That sort of initial sensation is a bit different.
The tea flavour is very subtle there, I think. It's kind of like mixed in with the bitterness, or the bitterness in the tea kind of resides in the back of the mouth as you're drinking it.
Yeah, I get a lot more bitterness and just probably more brown ale.
Yeah, it's got that maltiness that comes through from, like, I don't know whether it's just the biscuit or the brown ale, but you got that kind of malty, biscuity kind of, definitely on the nose anyway. That's there.
Tea is subtle.
Very.
Yeah, they made it subtle enough so you couldn't taste it. I think, but maybe it's.
Which could have been a key decision in making this beer.
There's an unknown flavour there, which I'm guessing would be the tea. I don't know whether it would taste like tea. Is it?
Yeah.
I wonder sometimes how they come up
You
with
did a
this.
top up, do you love another cuppa?
Sorry, couldn't help myself.
You know, I kind of feel like maybe someone was walking past the vat as it was brewing and spilt their tea in there, or dropped a box of tea bags in.
5 a.m. brewing session, standing on the edge of the vat, and he's got his cup of tea, he's hung over, and just slips out from his tea holder. Oh, it's all right. We'll get a Dilmar sponsorship, throw it on the label, no one will ever notice.
Well, I'm going to try something and just warm it up a little bit. So that's the way brown ales are supposed to be drunk, is sort of room temperature, isn't it? I don't know, I'm making stuff up.
Wow. The old
It's
ones,
English.
you see, like the old Newquay Brown, the old Newcastle Brown ale these days has the blue star. If the star's blue, means it's cold, ready to drink. If it goes pale, don't drink it, it's warm.
Oh, well, there you go.
I used to love the Newcastle. I still love the Newcastle Brown ale.
I can't say I've tried it.
These days it probably tastes a bit like piss water, to be honest. I think they've watered it down to it doesn't taste like anything like it used to, but I'm still a sucker for it.
Funnily enough, the only time I'm drunk it is when I was in the UK, so there you go.
I'm going to say in the UK, and it is to do with the serving temperature,
Yes.
but it does taste different.
Yeah, see, when I was there, I was young and poor, and I was backpacking, so any beer that I could afford was the best beer in the world. Hence, I fell in love with Guinness, because the pubs would give away free pints of Guinness. Walked in the door, give you 2 vouchers, have some Guinness. Love Guinness every day after that.
Well,
That's
free beer.
fair. Yeah. I might need another trip back to the UK when this coronavirus is all over.
If anything, I like the aroma of it. Like, it smells nice. Like, it's got that nice sort of, it's got that brown ale kind of smell to it. And
Do you know, I actually didn't. I didn't like the smell. I don't mind the flavour, but the smell didn't do it for me.
No, flavour doesn't.
It is a tough one. I think you don't like dark beers traditionally. It is a very traditional, like malty, stouty sort of flavour with a brown ale, but without the carry through. It's like the beer we had earlier. It hits and then it goes away.
Yes. So, scores for the fire after
I give it a 5.
5?
I think although it doesn't taste disgusting, no, it does, but then it doesn't taste like it says tea and biscuits. And I had the same issue with the range. The media release said it going to taste like blueberry pancakes, and it didn't. This comes out, says tea and biscuits, and you don't really get the tea. The biscuits is there for me, and the maltiness and the aroma, but I don't think it does what it sets out to do, and it's just another brown ale, really.
Yep. Actually, score for the Reanimator.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that one. Yeah. What did I give the Helios? I gave it a 7. So I'll give it a 7.5. I think I prefer it over the Helios just because I think it's a bit smoother. So yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
So Warren, for the Dilmah tea from Pirate Life,
I'm going to give it a 4.
4.
That might sound harsh, but I don't think I'd pick it up again. But look, I'm not a massive brown ale fan, so it just didn't do it for me.
And the Reanimator?
The Reanimator I did enjoy. I'm conflicted here. I'm basing it against the Helios, and
yes,
I liked it for different reasons.
Yep.
I probably still would say it was probably a more enjoyable beer overall, but only very slightly. I'd say you're probably right on the 7.5 there.
Yep. So so I'm probably going to go the same at a 4 for the Pirate Life. It's not my favourite. It was a push at a 4. I'm trying to be nice, so we'll stick at a 4. There is a possibility for a 3.5. The Reanimator, yeah, definitely. I think around that 7 sort of mark. I enjoyed it more than the Helios just because it was more drinkable. It was easier, smoother. Could definitely sit there and have a couple of those, whereas the Helios, I think, 1, and that's. Russ, what beers have you had this week?
Right, so beers we've been drinking this week. I've had a bit of a quiet week, although I've been to a couple of breweries in the last week. I went out to Ballistic in Springfield. I love that little venue. They had on tap one of their new brews, which is the English Mild Ale, another brown ale, and that was superb, absolutely superb. Like
So killed the Dilmah Pirate Life.
Far superior, far superior. They didn't dunk their tea bags in it for a start, which is
I hope that's why.
That's not a euphemism. Maybe that's why it's a tea. Anyway, we won't go down that line any further. Anyway, any Halo fans know what a good tea bagging would be. But no, the Likely Lad English Mild Ale, really nice. We're full flavour. There's only 3.5%, hence why they call it mild ale, I guess. But yeah, full flavour. It reminds me of your Little Creatures, Rogers, that sort of style, that sort of amber ale. Absolutely fantastic. They are also doing out there. They've got some guest taps in there. They've got Bodrigi Brewing out there, and the beers. I was remembering they've got strange names like. One is called Cosmic Microwave Nipa, which was really nice. My favourite one though was called Good Thanks Yourself, and that was and that was a hazy pale ale, and that was superb. Like it's tastes like freshly crushed pineapple and passion fruit and stuff, and absolutely fantastic. So I had 3 amazing beers out there.
I think I'd hate ordering that, but I think they've done it on purpose. If it's so loud that. If someone thinks you say, "Hey, how you going?"
Good, thanks yourself. Oh, there you are. No, I wanted the stout. I think they just marketed it as a hazy pale, so that's there. But yeah, then I also went out to, not independent and barely craft, but the James Squire, Charmy Squire the other week as well.
Yep.
And I had there the smoked bacon. Amber ale.
Yeah.
And like you call anything smoked bacon, even if it's not made of bacon, I'm in. Yeah, it was really nice. It was a really nice amber ale. It's had like just a very gentle, smoky sort of flavour going through, and I had myself like 2 or 3 of those, and I was quite happy after that. How about yourself? What's been tickling your taste buds?
I've been quite busy over the last few days, actually. Out of the last week, I tried the Imperial Raspberry Sour by Hope Brewing.
Ah, yes.
I've been a big fan of these recently, the Imperial Sours. This one, it was good, but I think it was actually at the point where it was too sour for me, which hurts my feelings. I would drink it again, but it's a one at a time sort of beer. I did try Revel's Blood Orange Ghost, and I was a fan of that. It was good, but it wasn't. It didn't blow me away.
Solid beer. It's refreshing. Almost has that little bit of saltiness sort of to it, but it's a nice solid beer without being. Again, spectacular.
Yeah, 100%. And but one I did try that I was really impressed by was the Hop Nation Banana Pastry Stout. Mm-hmm. It's part of a new range that they've released, including a coffee coffee stout.
And a peanut butter as well?
Yes, I believe so. I haven't been able to get my hands on those ones yet. But
I did this morning.
Stay
tuned.
really impressed. Really a creamy flavour, a subtle banana notes without being overpowering. Just a really enjoyable beer. I could drink a couple of those in a session. I was really happy with that. And last but not least was the Ether Brewing's Event Horizon Porter.
Yeah.
Which I believe has got a bit of rum soakiness, which just has a little subtleness underneath, and it was really quite flavourful.
That is a great porter. For myself, I actually tried, speaking of dark beers, the Sea Legs Raspberry Dark Ale. You got the raspberry. It was a dark beer. It was, again, good without being spectacular. It was a nice solid beer.
I did try it. I enjoyed it.
It was enjoyable, but not... I don't think I'd go out and buy another one.
Yeah, I hate to use the word pedestrian, but I kind of feel like it was one that you go, yeah, that was good, and probably never pick it up again.
Exactly right. That's where I was at. I went the Gimme Beer, the Bedspoke Cluster 8.
Oh, yeah.
Solid.
That's just a sensational beer.
Like a warm pair of trousers, that one. It's just comfortable. He slips into it, no worries.
Yeah, exactly right. The other one I tried, which was very interesting, I didn't think I was going to like it, was the Three Ravens Raspberry Lemonade Creamsicle.
Really?
Now, I gave Three Ravens a bit of grief on some of their other beers. I will take everything back based on this beer.
Wow. Really?
Think of having a raspberry lemonade spider beer float.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you got out of this one.
Interesting.
So
does that fall into the milkshake beer category?
Not quite.
Is a creamsicle, if you melt a creamsicle, does it become a milkshake?
Well, that's true. But you actually, even the mouthfeel felt like having a scoop of ice cream. So you actually tasted the creaminess to it, to the point where the wife even actually stole a fair bit of the beer off me. It was that good. And she's not a beer drinker. So it is one that if you're looking for something hoppy, malty, it's not going to hit the right spots. But if you're looking for something interesting, definitely hits exactly what it's trying to be. I was really impressed.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, definitely. So, Three Ravens, I'm sorry.
They still release plenty of milkshake IPAs, so just putting that out there.
Yeah, well, everything they do from now on will be based off of this one beer. So, it's going to be a high standard to live up to.
Well, that's all we have time for on this episode of the Poor and Old Man podcast. Thank you once again for joining us, and be sure to catch us on your favourite podcast channels.
That and on our social medias. Again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Are we on Friendster? What about MySpace?
We're old enough to be on MySpace, so I might have to set one of those up.
Well, I've been Russell.
I've been Anthony.
And I'm Wazza.
We'll catch you next week.
G'day guys, this week on Where's Wazza, I'm in Pitty's Kitchen, right here in God's Country in Queensland. First of all, I'm going to start on the beers. The beers this week were a great selection. There were some good cans on offer, some new stuff, really out there, obscure stuff, which was really quite interesting. So overall, great experience there. I'd have to say the beers were 8 out of 10. In terms of service was pretty good. Look, in terms of the bartender, he knew his stuff. He was friendly and polite, very helpful, on the ball, really top notch there. The vibe was good. There was some good banter, energetic. I'd say, next time maybe have some live music, or at least some music playing. It was a little bit on the quiet side. Location was a bit difficult for me. It is on the south side of Brisbane, so it was a bit of a trek to get down there, but it was definitely worth the trip. Now, usually I'd rate the food. However, on this occasion I didn't try any food. I had a liquid lunch, so it was if you're basing it on that, it was a good feed, but certainly I'd like to see some food offerings next time I visit. The menu could probably do with a little bit of work, but I'll keep hitting Pitty up on that and see if we can get something happening. So vibe was probably a 7 out of 10. Service, I'd say that was a 9 out of 10, really top notch. Location, it was a 6 out of 10. I'm being a bit harsh, but that's my rating. Food, I can't rate that. So look, overall I was really quite impressed. Probably say an 8 out of 10 for this particular venue. If you get a chance, if you're in the area, stop in. I'm sure you'll be very welcome, and you'll be treated to some brilliant beers. That's all for this week on Where's Wazza. I'll see you next time.